All right, man, we're recording. Welcome everybody to our Builders Call. We are going to come at you fast and furious. I want to kind of set the stage for something I think is just really powerful. And we talk about a lot of different things that we do, but I think it's kind of like when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. Everyone thought it couldn't be done. Like, everyone thought it couldn't be done, so no one did it until Roger Bannister did it. And once Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, all these other guys started doing it, after him. And all of a sudden, it became not a big deal. Still, you got to be pretty awesome to break the 4-minute mile. But then everyone else believed they could do it, right? Everyone else believed they could do it. And it's amazing what the power of belief has when the first person does it, and then you start thinking, whoa, if he could do it, I could do it. And what it does is it gets you out of your own head thinking, well, no one's done it, so what makes me think I could do it, right? So you start looking at yourself like, well, no one's done it, why would I be able to do it? Then you see a normal human being doing it, and then you're thinking, then you do the comparison. He's a really good runner, and, I've beat him in a race before. I've kept up with him. And then I could do that too. I just have to work a little harder, but I got to fix up in here. In other words, what happens then is you change your self-concept. You change how you look at yourself. So sometimes looking at an example and seeing what they're able to do, and then realizing I'm no different than them. If I train and work the way they did, then I will have the same results eventually, okay? And so what happens is you change how you look at yourself. You change how you think about yourself. You change the way you talk. You change the way that you hear yourself talking. And all of a sudden, you start gravitating toward those same results that person has, because you're doing the same work. And what happens is, when you initially come up with the idea in your head, when you give yourself permission that you're no different than them, then it opens up the floodgates of what you can become and what you can do, because then you know that you can change, and you know that you have it in you, and you see yourself differently. And every time you work harder and harder, it changes what you think you can do. It changes the result you actually get. Does that make sense? It's all in how you see yourself. If you see yourself broke, and you see yourself struggling but no way out, you see yourself thinking, I'm doing what everyone else is doing, how come I'm not getting the same results? Well, chances are you aren't doing what they're doing, right? Isn't that interesting how you think you're doing what they're doing, but you really are not doing what they're doing. You're not putting the work in with the right attitude and mindset. You're not putting the work in with the expectation of good stuff happening. Do you see the subtle difference? You think you're doing the work, but you really kind of aren't, right? It's like amazing when you tell someone, well, I'm doing exactly how you said it. Like, I'm doing the phone script exactly how you taught it. Oh, okay. Well, run it by me. And then it sounds nothing like Minikino. It sounds nothing like the people on our videos on dialing the phone, Linda Holt, Carrie Williams, Junior Korea. Sounds nothing like them. And you think you're doing exactly like them. And that's the disconnect. The disconnect is you're not doing it how they're doing it. And that's really where neurolinguistic programming came from. Neurolinguistic programming, NLP, came from the idea of how do we duplicate successful people. And they studied it, they examined, they got into the head, the brains of people successful, and they realized that the way to duplicate is to understand how people think and how they are, how these successful people think, how they are, their tendencies, what they do, the types of personalities and things that they have, how they view the world, how they process data, and how they represent the world around them. And they felt like, okay, if we can model how they represent the world, how they think about what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why are they doing it like the way they're doing it, then we can model that behavior and put it on someone else and then program that person to get the same results. Even though they may have a different learning style or a different modality is what we call it, they still can accomplish the same results. And that's where, back in the 60s, that's where NLP came from, right? It was more of a duplicating successful people. So when you step back and look at why you're not getting the same results, you have to step back and look at, am I thinking the way they're thinking? Am I approaching it the way they're approaching it? Am I putting the work in? I mean, the work thing's obvious. If you're not doing the dials, then you're not working. But assuming you're doing the work and not getting the results, then it comes down to, am I looking at it the way they're looking at it? Do I have the right attitude? Am I doing exactly what they're doing? It's like the difference between someone says, I can't get anyone on the phone, and then Minikina says, man, I get a lot of people on the phone. Okay, so who's lying, Minikina or you, right? There's a disconnect. So you can't automatically assume you're doing it. In other words, I would ask you to assume that you're not doing everything exactly the way the successful people are doing, right? Just make that assumption. Then once you make that assumption, then it becomes, okay, how do I learn to do exactly what they're doing? Okay, see how you change the framing of it, where now you're open to learn. Now you're opening your mind to submit your ego, submit your pride, and submit your frustration to, what do I need to do to get better? Okay, how can I duplicate them more, right? So, the whole kind of the thing that I think that we can do better, that we can do more of, is I believe, since Carl Cater did premium financing, he's the first one. Like you heard that 103,000, that was his premium financing case. He's got another 150,000 of that coming when he gets those 4 cases done. So that's what, 250,000 of target premium. 250,000 of target premium. Okay, it's kind of like when we started selling annuities. Annuities, we weren't selling annuities at all for the first 15 years in our company. Well, that's being a little bit harsh. Probably the first 12 years. Then it started with one person selling it. And then 2 people, 3 people, people started believing they can sell annuities. And then until we started BAM with Chris Norris, we were trickling in annuities. When BAM started and we made it easier, then we tripled our annuity production. So that tells me that someone had to be the first one to do it and break through, then everyone could believe they could sell annuities. Now, Brent Swindell, if you heard him yesterday, talked about 0 to 2.3 million in annuities, and he's been with us 5 years, right? And so he changed his whole self-concept of not selling annuities to bearing down. And you know what? I could do this. I just need to bear down. I need to learn it. I need to talk to people that are selling it. I need to get around the people doing it. I need to lean on BAM. I need to get help. But he wasn't, and then now he is, right? You see that doing something different to improve yourself is not a big deal. It's just a decision to realize that you can do what other people are doing, and from a spiritual perspective, God is no respecter of persons. In other words, there's nothing more special about you than someone else. By the same token, there's nothing worse about you than someone else. So that if you can change the way you think about yourself, you can change the results in your life. And it sounds simple and it sounds so, I don't know how to say it without being sarcastic. So I'm not going to say it sarcastically. I'm just going to say that you have it inside you. And, God put it inside you. You know that God planted that seed of greatness in you. It's just letting it come out, realizing that you have it already. Now it's a matter of tapping into it. Do you see how that works? So the premium financing thing is huge. I think it's a very viable opportunity for you. Like when you think about it, so my question is for you, how many of you know that there are people making, let's just say, $150,000 to $200,000 a year? Okay, raise your hand in your mind if you think that there are people around you that are walking past you that are in the desk inside a company that they own that are making probably 150, 200, 250, 250,000. Do you believe that there are people walking around making that kind of money? Okay, so let's suspend belief and let's just assume that you do. Okay, that there are people around you. Okay, so let's establish, number one, there are people making that kind of money. Number two, how many of those people you think there's a percentage of those people that are concerned about retirement, that would like to retire with some kind of financial dignity? Okay, so we know there are people making 150, 200, 250,000 a year, and they want to retire someday. Okay. Number three, how many of those people love their families to want to give them a legacy, to leave a legacy for them when they die? Okay, so how many of those people that are making 150,000 and above, right, that are concerned about retirement and they love their families to want to leave a legacy when they die? Okay, so how many people do you think now around you fit those three conditions? There's probably a lot, right? Probably a lot. Okay. Number four, how many of those people you think would like to have a bank loan them the money to fund their retirement? How many people you think would like the bank to fund their retirement instead of their own money funding their retirement? It's the concept of other people's money. How many you think people out there? So let me make an analogy. Of those three types, of those people that meet those three criteria, right, that they make above 150,000, that they're concerned about retirement, that they love their families and want to leave them a legacy, okay? Okay. How many of them probably own homes? Okay. So why do people want to buy a home? For all the reasons why. They want to own their own place. They want to have ownership. They want to build equity. They don't want to keep renting an apartment. Okay. Well, that's interesting, Alex. But do those people save, let's say they live in a $300,000 home. Do they save, when they decide they want a home, do they save until they have $300,000 to buy a home? How many people? Probably not many. But how many people go to a bank and they say, Mr. Banker, what I'm going to do is I'll commit to paying you a monthly payment over the next 30 years for this $300,000 home. And at the end of 30 years, you're going to let me own the home. So I want to use your money so I can live in this house today and keep making those payments for 30 years, and then I can own the home outright. I know I've paid you, $500,000 for this $300,000 home, but thank you for allowing me to use your money to have my home and live in my home. I know you own it, but I will own it after I've paid you all what I owe you over the next 30 years. Mr. Banker, is that cool with you? The banker says, let me look at your job. Let's see how much money you make. Let me look at your credit history, see if you make good on your promises. Okay, well, it looks like those two check off. It's a deal. Let's shake on it. Okay. Right? Okay, so if those people that are making over $150,000 a year, that are concerned about retirement, that love their families and want to leave them a legacy, how many of them have purchased a home using the bank's money? Okay, so let's make a little bit of a leap then. Of those people that are using bank's money to own a home, how many of them would also like to use the bank's money to help them fund their retirement? Right? Using an indexed universal life vehicle to be able to use the bank's money and their own money to fund an IUL so they can develop a tax-free income for the rest of their lives. Right? It's no different than someone financing a car to have transportation. It's no different than someone financing their house to have a house to live in. It is the same. Financing their retirement by using bank money to help them earn a tax-free retirement in the future. Does that make sense? Have I confused you yet? Have I made this so complicated that you don't know what to do? No, the concept makes sense, doesn't it? Like, someone text me. Or am I being like totally unreasonable? Like, if we had brokers that brokered premium financing, retirement brokers, hey, we can help you fund a tax-free retirement for the rest of your life. We're going to hook you up with the mortgage banks, the banks, premium financing banks. All you have to do is show us how much money you can put in it every month and your credit worthiness, and then we can help you fund a lifetime retirement, tax-free retirement. Now you're probably wondering, why are you talking about this on a builder's call? Okay, imagine, if you will, if you can make that leap, logic leap, for funding your retirement with other people's money, then imagine, like, if you had 4 sales a year, someone who did, well, let's not even make it that much. Let's say you had 50,000, someone who could put in 2,000 a month. I'm doing a thought exercise with you, so hang in there with me. There's a purpose to all this. Hope I have enough time to cover it. Okay, but I want to just, okay. So let's say you have someone who can put in, let me see. $25,000 a year. Okay. They put in $25,000 a year. It's a little over $2,000 a month, times 5 years. Okay. That's $125,000. Okay. Then the bank matches it, $25,000 per year, times 5. Plus another $50,000. That's how premium financing works, basically, times 5 years. And this is $250,000, right? All right. $375,000 total from the bank's money, $125,000 of the person's money. Okay, they pay this off in the interest. 10 years, they pay this off at year 15, and then they let's say they take the money at year 20, and I'd have to run the illustration. It depends on age, but let's say this is this will do $25,000 a year of tax-free retirement, which is probably the same as maybe $40,000 a year normal. Okay, in addition to whatever they're doing, right? In addition to whatever they're doing, you know, this is the tax-free retirement. Maybe they have an IRA, right? And maybe they have, they'll have Social Security, whatever that little that is, okay? This equivalent's tax-free, okay? So anyway, here's the point. You just wrote a $50,000 a year AP policy, okay? So 50,000 of issue paid target premium divided by 12. So this is like issue paying $41.66 a month. Okay, $41.66 a month. Now this is one policy, $41.66 a month issue paid. Okay, divided by 0.75. That's placement. So that is, you know, basically 5,600 submitted. This is issue paid. 5,600 submitted. Okay, divided by 1,000. So this is basically 6 homes. I'm going to be conservative that you closed. You probably sat in 12 homes in order to do that. Okay, just being conservative. So 12 homes per month for this one policy. So 12 homes that you set, and you probably booked 12 divided by 0.65. Let's just say that's the share rate. So you probably booked, let's say 18 appointments per month, right? So the equivalent of one 50,000 premium financing deal. Okay, and this, look, someone making 150, 200,000, you think they could spare another 25,000 a year from what they're putting away anyway? Probably, right? That's you're booking 18 appointments a month. 18 a month to get the equivalent production of one 50,000 IUL, right? So look, let's say, do you think you can get 4 of these a year? So that's 200,000 per year in very, very small premium financing deals. Okay, that's 4. So you multiply 18 times 4, you're booking 72 a month. This is the same as 72 appointments booked per month, which is about 18, you know, just say 4-week month. That's 18 per week. 18 per week is what you're doing to book appointments to be equivalent to 4 premium financing deals, 1 per quarter. Okay, so let's say you sat down with 8 people, business owners, and you closed half of them on a premium financing deal on average. So, and these are people you didn't find on a lead. Maybe you did, but these are maybe 8 people that you found knocking on doors, finding a business owner that you know, or you network through people to find a business owner, and you have a conversation. Hey, by the way, have you ever thought about having a bank finance your retirement, a tax-free retirement? No. Can that be done? Oh, yeah. You mean your financial guys never told you about that? Well, here's why. You know, they get more commissions on managing your money than they do with a concept like this. That's probably why they don't show. I'm not surprised, right? You're going to be in one of the top producers in the alliance doing this. I mean, you are if you're doing 18 appointments a week. I'm not saying don't do 18 appointments a week, but I'm showing you the difference in what you're doing to make this kind of income. Am I making sense, or am I just like, I don't know. Where'd my cap go? My cap's gone. All of a sudden Um, I just came up with these numbers. I mean, I think I'm pretty fairly accurate with it. Well, can you do more than that? Yeah, you can. You can do more than that. I'm just trying to equivocate the work.